Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Knits. I am located in New York City. I am here for a meeting. It's been so much traveling for me for the past couple of weeks. Last weekend I was in DC. So I'm really excited that this is actually my last work trip for the year, I hope. I may have to come back to New York again in February, but that's for a few months from now. So right now I'm just going to just lean in and just suck it up and be ready for this final leg of the year of continuing the work for AP African American Studies, as well as developing my own skill as a teacher and consultant and author. Last weekend, I had a wonderful opportunity to do two presentations at the National Council for Social Studies. It was an incredible experience, and I think what actually made it so enjoyable, even though I got a chance to listen to Supreme Court Justice Jackson, and also got a chance to meet some really interesting, thoughtful, passionate educators. I think what was a highlight for me was actually reconnecting with my fellow AP AFAM teachers who are like family members to me, and who travel from different parts of the country and to come to this particular conference to share their experience in teaching the course, while also sharing out the skills and strategies that they use in order to improve their own selves or their students, or both. So it was really absolutely amazing to spend some quality time with them and just to catch up as well. It's like my little surrogate family. So it was wonderful last weekend. I had such a wonderful time. But while I was there, I was dealing with a hip injury. So I got out of my car and I was just like, okay, telling my sons what to do. And I had forgot to do something. I guess I had turned my front part of my body going left and my bottom part of my body going right, and my hip was like nope, and I felt this like pull, and I'm like, that does not feel good. That does not feel good at all. I hope I did not dislocate my hip, because in the past I have dislocated my hip before, and it was excruciating to have it put back into the socket. Fortunately, I did not dislocate my hip. It turns out that I had strained my hip flexor, as I had a horrible time about standing up, sitting down, laying down, the whole 9 yards. Like, the last week and a half has been excruciating. And today really is the first time that I've been able to be a little bit more mobile. I've been doing yoga nonstop. I've been walking in order to kind of keep my body in motion, because I noticed that it doesn't hurt as much when I'm walking. It just hurts when I was lifting my leg. I even did an elliptical this week too, and it didn't feel great, but it didn't feel horrible too. So I think we're in recovery mode, but I'm not going to push it this weekend. One of my students asked, because I told them that, I have to go out of town again this weekend in order to attend this meeting. They're like, oh my gosh, you're always out of town. And one of them was like, does this mean you're going to go get turned up and have a good old time and go party? I was like, no, child. My days of partying are over, and my hip is solidifying the fact that I do not have it in me to go partying like that. I am going to be spending time here in my hotel room and having a good old time. And so where I'm at right now, I'm in the lower part of Manhattan. No, actually, I'm lying. I'm near the World Trade Center in Brooklyn Bridge. And a few years ago, I came to the same meeting with my family, and we did a little touristy tour. They got a chance to go to the World Trade Center museum that was to honor the victims of 9/11. We also got a chance to go to the Brooklyn Bridge. They got a chance to see the Statue of Liberty from the bridge in itself, which was a really cool experience for them. And I'm hoping one day to actually take them to the Statue of Liberty. I would love to not only like tour the full facility, but love to pay for one of those helicopter tours, so you can see some of the things that are missing from the story about that Statue of Liberty, that a lot of people don't know, that its intended purpose was to celebrate the fact that the United States finally stopped allowing the institution of slavery to maintain, and that the sculptor was forced to hide the chains that was initially a part of the design for the Lady of Liberty. So I'm really excited to share that experience with them in person. So hopefully we can get that going sooner than later. But this weekend, it is all about me and this meeting and my knitting. And so let me just share with you what I'm wearing. I'm currently wearing the Oslo hat. It is cold and windy out there, and I'm still feeling a little frigid, although my room is starting to warm up, so I think I will be taking it off. In addition to that, I'm also wearing, oh, that can't do that with that leg. I'm wearing a pair of my knitted socks. I think I'm wearing the librarian socks. I really don't know. It's one of those little texture sock knitting patterns that I had this really cute yarn, and I was like, oh, I'll just do that. Nothing grand to tell about it. But what I will say is that I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning, right? And the reason why I decided to put on these socks and this hat, because I was in my yarn room, it's the middle of the night, I'm like, I can't go back to sleep, and I decided to start working on knitting because I already had packed up my current projects in my travel bags, and I didn't want to wake up my husband to go get them. So I decided to cast on a whole new project, because that's what you do. And I cast on my new project, and I'm looking around the room, and I felt my hands starting to cramp. So I'm like, I'm going to clean up this room. I'm going to try to be quiet about it, because my yarn room is right above my stepson's bedroom. So I'm putting away different stuff in the room. And as I'm doing so, I'm getting reacquainted with all this beautiful yarn and wool. I found some wool that I'd completely forgotten that I purchased. And I was like, oh, this is so awesome. And then I found this basket. And I don't know why I ignore it. It's like right in there in my yarn room. But anywho, I went into the basket and I was like digging through it, and I was like, oh, there's this mohair. Where's this alpaca from? Ooh, what about this? Like, I was just having a grand old time in this basket, because they were unfinished projects, crochet projects that I did finish but didn't actually put out there into the world to actually use. And then I found these penny gloves. And unfortunately, it looks like some type of wool-eating insect decided to have its dinner, lunch, and breakfast with both gloves. So I ended up tossing them away. And I added a lavender oil scent to the basket until I can get better repellent. I don't know if it's still living in that particular basket. I moved everything around just to double check, and I don't see any evidence of it. So it could just possibly have been one of those one-off things. I do have some other insect repellents that have been fairly successful in that particular space, but you never know what you're knitting. But all this is to say is that as I was going through the basket, it made me realize I need to do a better job of taking care of my wool as well as my yarn, that I frequently just throw it on the shelf and then forget about it. And then I have some wool in yarn in my room that I had designated for projects that I still haven't cast on. And so what I'm hoping to do, I know everyone's been talking about their winter plans or their 2026 plans or whatnot, but I want to do something a little different with myself. Rather than just go through a list of all the fantasies that we have as knitters and crocheters and spinners, instead, I'd rather just do what I know I can do, but also leave room for that inspiration. So I'm one of those folks that sometimes when I see stuff on Ravelry or if I watch a podcast, I will feel inspired and immediately purchase a pattern with the intention of making it and then never actually moving forward with it. And I think the rosy sweater is a prime example of that. So what I'm hoping is that for 2026 that I'm going to go through each shelf and wipe them down properly and make a schedule for myself that at least once a month I'm rotating the yarn just to make sure I'm getting rid of the dust mite and other potential insects that are going to be coming through that space because they're attracted to the wool. Sorry, I'm a little itchy. In addition to that, I also want to spend some quality time looking at my Ravelry library and making sure that the patterns that I currently own, that I actually have the appropriate sweater quantity for it, and that whatever I am casting on for 2026, that it won't require me to go out and buy new yarn. Now, the reality is there are instances that the yarn that we had intended for a project, you have the right amount of yarn, it's the proper weight, you get gauge. However, when you make that fabric, it doesn't actually reflect the vision that you had for the project. And that does happen sometimes. And so you have to have that flexibility saying like, this is not the fabric I envision. I still want this project. And so I'm just going to go and buy the yarn. So that flexibility for myself is always going to be there. If I'm dissatisfied with that, I'm going to do that. However, I want to actually put forth the effort in doing so. And I also have to keep in mind that there are some yarns I have that I initially was in love with or I purchased because it was on sale that I have no intention of making anything with. I think the two best examples of that, I bought two sweater quantities of the Barocco cotton, and it supposedly is this Prima cotton. It's very shiny, and it has more of a rope like texture to it, and it's not calling to me to say knit me, and I have tried different ways to get myself excited about I have it literally on one bookcase where I can't miss it. Every day when I walk in my yarn room, it's like bam right in my face. And I have it right next to my Knitting for Olive cotton merino that's also just sitting there like, when like when are we going to be cast on? You spent all this money on me and I'm just sitting here. So my hope is that I will go through those three as well as the many other sweater quantities of yarn and reconnect with them, and also pair them with the right pattern that is going to give life to that yarn or let it go. Tony Lipsy just recently did a huge D-stash, and I'm like, you know what, I could do that as well. And I frequently will give my yarn away to the Fiber Arts Club at my school, and I'd love to do other yarny activities. So I'm gonna start thinking about what else can I do to share my yarn with my community around me, so that way the yarn is going to a good home. So those were some of my thoughts that I was having today. The other thought I was having today that I wanted to share with you all is about what happened last time I was here in New York City. And so every year we have this meeting here in New York City. There has been instances in the past where the lead consultants have had met in other cities, but New York City is usually the prime location for the lead consultants for all the AP courses come together. We have conversations about the performances, an AP exam, about our experiences in teaching teachers how to teach AP courses, and other aspects of our experience as consultants. And so being here last year, I had such a wonderful time. It was the perfect mommy alone time, wife alone time getaway where I talked to my family and they were like, bye, we have other things to do. I was like, okay, it's fine. And I went on this little walking tour of the part of New York where we're at. We were on the opposite and where I'm at today. We were in the heart of Manhattan, and so I got a chance to travel to different locations I never would have gone to, and I definitely just had such a wonderful time going to this little local bookstore that was beautiful with a whole array of books. I ended up getting something for my son as well as myself, and then I decided just to keep walking, and I realized I wasn't too far from the Alvin Ailey dance studio where both students and members of the dance company come to perform and practice. So it was incredible being there and just being offered the opportunity by the guards to walk around on my own just to witness this beautiful creative masterpiece that this company has been able to successfully put together and maintain. And then after I successfully did that little mini tour, I had lunch at some little random cafe. I ended up buying a large enough meal where I could have it later. And then I decided, like, you know what, I'm gonna walk to Knit City. And it was a walk, but I'm so glad I did that because it was just fun. I listened to my audiobook. I don't know which one I was listening to, but I was listening to an audiobook. I got to Knit City. I was feeling a little tired by this point because I passed where the Daily Show is filmed, and I was like, this is so cool. And so I got to Knit City and I just had an amazing experience there. It was a lot of people and it was a small shop, but it was very cute and kitschy. I loved it so much. And I was able to purchase yarn that I still haven't used. I think I attempted to use one skein of the yarn there, but that's it. I used the tape measure I bought from there. But anywho, left Knit City, and by this point I was exhausted. I had spent the whole day walking about. I saw all these different little attractions that I never thought that I would be able to see, that I would maybe watch on TV or on YouTube. So it was really cool to see it live in person, but I was ready to be back at the hotel, and we still had a meet and greet that we needed to attend. So I get back to the hotel and I start going on Ravelry. You know how it is on Ravelry. And I saw the Berlin scarf. And I don't know if you remember last year, the Berlin scarf was all the rage. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure you can see both my eyes. But anywho, the Berlin scarf was all the rage. And I wanted to knit that like right then and there. I was like, this will be perfect. Because I had just finished my Petite knit sweater. I had to re-knit the collar because it was a little too tight. So I had just finished that, and all I kept thinking about was this item that I wanted to cast on right then and there. And I was so distraught that I couldn't do so, because by that particular point, I didn't have the needles in order to cast on. I only had the needles I brought with me to do the sweater. So it was like little ribbing needles. I didn't have obviously the yarn because I purchased yarn from Knit City, but neither, both skeins of yarn that I purchased, actually it wasn't just, I think I bought like 3 or 4, but the skeins of yarn I purchased was not compatible with that particular pattern and what I was envisioning for it. And then, so Knit City was also closed by this point. So was Brooklyn General. And so those were the only 2 yarn stores I knew of. And when I was looking on Google Maps to see if there were any other local yarn stores to where I was staying, they were all closed by that point. The closest yarn store was Michael's. So I was like, maybe I'll go there. But then I saw that because of the traffic, by the time I got to Michael's, it would have been closed. So I was out of luck. And I spent the rest of the night as well as the next day just obsessing about this pattern. And I am so happy that this year I'm coming back to New York City for this meeting. And I actually had the Berlin scarf. Now, I finished this months ago and I talked about it on the channel, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this, but this was probably one of my favorite knits to do, and it has to do with the yarn. So I went to Michael's months ago with my knitting crew, and the 3 of us, we were in Michael's that's in Cambridge, and I was just like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And because that Michael's is completely different from the Michael's near where I live. But anywho, I digress. I found that Lion Brand, is it Lion Brand or Yarn Inspirations? One or the other. I think it was the Lion Brand version, but they both have this little bulky weight, fuzzy color changing yarn that gives us, that mimics mohair or something of that nature. And so I purchased 3 skeins of that, and I took 2 of those 3 and I made this beautiful Berlin scarf that I wear so often, and I love this pattern. So I did not do the binding off the same what the pattern calls for. Instead, I did my own idea, and I'm glad I did that because it's more authentic to my taste. And so I like the way my friend just came out with that as well. Not to say that what the designer came up with was not good. But yeah, the Berlin scarf, if you're looking for a great gift knit, or if you are looking for one of those patterns to sink your teeth into with beautiful yarn, the Berlin scarf is definitely one of those, especially if you have a color changing yarn. I think for me, knitting in a tube in a round, that would have gotten really boring because it's like doing a sleeve or a sock. After a while, you're like, is this almost over? But when you're using color changing yarn, it stimulates you, at least in my opinion, and it keeps you engaged. And that is the reason why not only was I able to finish this, but why this is so long. And I'm 6 feet tall, and this comes down to my knees. So I am absolutely in love with the scarf, and I'm so glad that I have it with me. Another pattern that I was working on while I was here last time to fix the collar, which I still really didn't fix, which I'm going to hopefully one day figure out. The collar is just too tight. I keep undoing it and thinking I fixed it, and I end up with the same results, and I end up tearing it. But fortunately, this is made with brush alpaca and drops flora, and I think I also used Michael's wool thread yarn. So far it's held up, but I definitely like yank it in order to get it over my head. And I could just cut into it and then try doing it that way. But I did an Italian bind off, and I just pulled way too tight from it. And then when I undid it and tried again last year, it did not improve the experience. So I am happy that I am wearing this sweater to the meeting as well as the scarf, because it's like it's all coming together. Because both of these patterns were on my mind when I was here last time in New York. So I'm excited about that. So in addition to those 4 completed objects that were not finished in 2025, I did pack some really, hopefully highly engaging items. So since I've already toured this area and I'm on my own for dinner, and I did a lot of socializing last weekend. Friday night I went out with the book publisher to, celebrate the success and sales of the book. So we went out with the marketing team, the co-author and I, and the author of the teacher edition, all of us were together. So it was a beautiful, fun evening, but it was a lot of socializing. And then on Saturday last weekend, I was socializing from 8:30 in the morning until 5 and almost 6 o'clock at night. It was nonstop conversation. I maybe got like a 30-minute reprieve where I could like sit to and like breathe and like calm my nerves down because I had to do 2 presentations that day. So all that said, I was just, and then I went back to work because I got home Sunday from after going to the conference. I got home on Sunday, and then I had to get ready for work. And then all this week, I've been teaching and getting my students ready for the AP AFM course project, making sure that they select their topic, teaching them about how to use the internet, specifically AI responsibly, because our school allows our students access to Gemini. And I wanted to make sure that when they're interacting with it, that they're doing it appropriately, regardless of whatever your thoughts and feelings are about AI. The reality is that students do have access to it. And so I rather make sure that they understand how to use it responsibly if they are choosing to use it. So I hope they don't. I hope they do it old school like me, using a book and reading through the book and getting their information that way. But the reality is that most students use the internet in order to deepen their understanding about a topic. So anyway, that's been my week. So it's been a lot of peopling, a lot of interaction with folks. So I need to channel my introvert where I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. So I'm really excited about tonight because I only have to do the meet and greet and then that's it. So unfortunately I won't be able to see some of my family members who live here. I love you all, but I will see you and I see you next time. But I did bring some great knits to work on. So on the plane, I am currently working on my 3rd pair of holiday socks. I am making a gift for my neighbor who lives adjacent from my house. Every year for Christmas, the entire 10 years we lived in this neighborhood, she and her daughters have made us this beautiful basket of just sweet treats. And we look forward to it every year. It's one of our favorite things. We're like, oh my God, Miss Lisa's bringing over the basket. It's coming. Like when we see them coming across the street, the boys get all like hyper. And if I'm being honest, so do my husband and I, we get really excited because it's delicious and we munch on it the whole day on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And it probably is gone by New Year's. I kind of say and she makes a huge basket. So I wanted to do something thoughtful because she makes these beautiful, delicious treats from scratch for us in our neighborhood. And I wanted to do something for her to express my appreciation because she's been an absolutely wonderful neighbor and I really appreciate her. So I am currently I made 2 pairs of socks and now I'm on the 3rd pair. And so I'm using the yarn I purchased, from it's called Another Yarn Store in from Burlington, Massachusetts. This is why I need to stop talking and go to bed. But anywho, there we go. So that is the name of the brand. And the colorway that I'm using, it doesn't necessarily have, it's called Celebrate. And so I'm going to try to put the tag there so you can see that. Hopefully it's coming through. Oh, it's upside down, so you really can't see. Hopefully it's coming through. And so that's the colorway for this one. And I bought the other one, which you saw hopefully in the last episode. And if you didn't, you can go on my Ravelry and you can see all the beautiful pictures there. So I'm on the first sock for the 3rd pair. And I should be finished with it by the time I get home. If not, I will definitely have it finished by Tuesday because sock knitting is what I bring with me to my work meetings. And we have a very, very, very long meeting on Tuesday. And I tried it on my own foot with my feet clean just to make sure it fits. And I always wash my gift knits and I'm going to tell her how to take care of it. I think she can handle it. So I'm going to make 3 pairs. And so that way she and her daughters can pick between the pairs as well. And if I have time, I will try to make some hats too, but I don't think that's feasible. So in addition to socks for my neighbor, I'm also working on a pair of socks that I'm most likely going to give to my son's godmother, my best friend, Marisa. We just saw the movie Wicked, and I was working on this actually in the movie. And so I did a interesting cuff. The light is a little bad in here. I don't know. Yeah, it's not going to show up too well. But essentially, I mentioned this before. This little setup I have going on. I did purple and black for the cuff, and I did it similar to like Hilo knitting, like 1 round of black, 1 round or striping. one round of black, one round of purple, and I really liked how it came out. And for the cast on, I didn't do a German twisted cast on because I know that that it's a preferred stretchy one, but instead I hold my two needles together and I cast on the yarn to both onto both needles, and then I slide one out, and then it just allows for a looser item. It's something I saw on YouTube, and I thought it'd be a good idea, and it works. And I decided to do a SSK and knit two together decrease and make the little pointed toe. And I did a heel flap and gusset with this one. And so it's been a long time since I've done a heel flap and gusset, and it didn't come out great, but it didn't come out horrible. And I think she's still going to enjoy the sock. And the colors are designed by Yarn Cafe Creations. They were inspired by the movie Wicked, and so I did this while watching the second Wicked movie, and I ended up finishing the sock while I was in DC last weekend, and I was like, you know what, I might as well start the second sock. So I did. I decided to call this cuff, what is it, toe up, toe down. And so I already did this is a toe up, and I already did the toe down. So this is a toe up version. So I'm going to come all the way toe up. I've never done a heel flap and gusset from a toe up. And so when I get to that point, I am going to watch a tutorial because I want to get better at that, because the Rhubarb Custer socks, it is a toe up sock, and you have to do the heel flap and gusset toe up, and that's where I screwed up big time with that. I had problems throughout, but I finally got the color work figured out, got my tension figured out. But as soon as I got to the heel flap and gusset, I made so many mistakes, and I really want to make those socks. And so I figure if I practice using this, that will help me. I still have plenty of yarn left, and so I know I'm going to be able to make her a nice pair. And I'm using the two skeins of yarn that came with it, the purple and black. So it's already cast on, and they're going to be fraternal socks. I was hoping to make them identical, but that was not how the cookie crumbled, and it is what it is. It's no problem to me. And so they're going to be fraternal, and what the cool thing is that it already started on that side, and I'm just picking up from there. So this will be my airplane knitting. So if I finish this sock, and once I finish this sock, I will immediately cast on the second one, so that way I don't get second sock syndrome, because I can see that happening with this. I'm not as engaged with this particular sock as I was with the other one. I don't know, I don't really like the fabric that it's making, but I'll make it do. It's interesting, but I'm not like in love with it. And maybe after wet blocking, it's going to give it a little bit more of that oomph. But it's not oomphin' for me right now. So my goal is to finish this and immediately cast on the second one. I'm going to do another cuff down version, and I'm doing the afterthought. No, I'm not. I'm doing the shuttle wrap heel with this sock, and then I'll continue to work on this. My hope is that I will have both pairs of socks finished by December 22nd. And so I also bought with me the test knit I am doing for Veronika Lindberg. Even though the test knit is over, I have already met the expectations for the project and shared my feedback with her as well. And so the pattern is now available for purchase on Ravelry. It is beautiful, and she was able to make all the corrections necessary to it. I was able to try it on, and it fits over my head, so I'm really excited about that. And so tonight, my goal is just to re-engage myself with the project. I'm probably just going to work on the sleeve. And then once I finish one sleeve, I will do the second sleeve, and then I'll do the rest of the body because I already did the collar. And so it's coming along. It's about midway to my body. Actually, it's a little bit past my belly button. I know you can't see here, but when I tried it on, it was a little bit past my belly button. So I don't really have that much to do on the body. And from what everyone has shared in the test knitting, that it grows. And so in looking at some of the finish items, I'm like, okay, I really do want to finish this. So my hope is that this will be finished by December 31st, and that way I can wear it on New Year's Eve. That is my hope. As well. But if I don't finish it by then, it's fine. It can be with me in January as well. I don't mind working on this. It was an enjoyable test knit. I had some trouble due to my own inability to read the pattern, as well as some of the initial mistakes with the pattern that were corrected. And then there was also the yarn issue too. But all in all, it is living in my color purple bag, and I cannot wait to dive back into it so that way I can get this finished as well. So I will be working on that tonight. I am only here in New York for one night, so this is really ambitious of me. But my other hope is to finish the back of my sister in law's cardigan. And so last week, I was really feeling anxious about the presentations I had to do last weekend. And so this pattern really helped calm my nerves. And I'm really am grateful to it. And it's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why I still love knitting so much. Because when you're feeling anxious about different situations and your mind is just going all over the place, sometimes you just need to slow it down. And so it slowed me down, and I just took all of that energy, and I was able to finish the front of the garment. And I know it's a little hard to tell, but from what I'm picking up from this pattern, you knit to a specific length of the body, and then you continue on with one side of the front, and then you do the back to that same length, and then you do the other side to that same length, and then you're going to kitcheneer stitch it together in order to bring the front and the back so you can have an armhole. And then once it's there, what the pattern calls for, it looks like it's just straight stockinette. Now, if I was making this for myself, I probably would do the textured pattern on the sleeves, but because this is my sister-in-law's, I don't want to deviate from the pattern too much because she fell in love with this pattern, and I'm going to do it to her expectation. And so I cannot wait to dive back into this. And for me, I think one of the reasons why I've been finding this knit more engaging than the other is that the yarn management with this is a son of a biscuit, and that's all me. I made a decision to pair this with mohair. I also made a decision to purchase the wrong yarn, which is a reason why I have to do helical knitting. So it's a lot of yarn management with this particular project, which is why I don't enjoy knitting it as much as I do this one. But this one, it's just one skein of yarn. Malabrigo is a beautiful yarn to knit with, and so it's hypnotic. There's no other way to put it. It's hypnotic. And I actually brought this with me while I was at the conference just to kind of ease my mind right before I present it. So I really am loving how it's coming out. So this is the back. As you can see, I just started it. I haven't made that much progress with it, but I know I'm going to fly through it because, like I said before, it really is entertaining as well. So I'm going to put on a movie and just allow myself to submerge into this pattern. I have my charger all ready to go, so I'm going to charge my computer while reading the pattern, and I'll use my Knit Companion on my phone so that way I can stay engaged. I just am excited just to have this night of knitting. Around 4, I'm going to leave to go get something to eat, or maybe I might DoorDash it or do room service, who knows. But all in all, I must say I'm really excited about this, which is why I'm going to wrap this up. Little things just to share. I am currently, I'm still reading the same book by Dan Brown. So every night I'm still reading that. I'm reading Inferno. I'm on the 3rd book, and I'm hoping that I can get through that by the end of the year so I can start the new book, the audiobook version of it, because there's a 4th book in this series. And I think I will have access to audiobook by January. So it's not a big rush. I'm almost there, and I'm really excited about it. So that is happening. In addition to reading that, I'm also listening to several books as well, but nothing that is worth telling. I've been trying out different books, and I haven't found a story that really is catching my attention. So hopefully something will pop up on my audiobook, Libby, where I can actually listen to a story that I want to, because everyone I put on reserve, I thought I would be interested in, did not enjoy it. So I ended up downloading a whole bunch of knitting podcasts and listened to that on the plane on my way to New York and on my way from the airport to the hotel. So it's been a wonderful travel experience so far. I'm really excited about my time tonight, which is why I'm going to bid you a farewell. I hope that you enjoyed this little catch up here in New York City as I'm about to engage in some club knitting. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend or whatever day of the week that you're watching this episode. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.